Yes, here we are with another addition to the Timed Attack series, and as you've probably guessed by the title of this video or the preview from last week, today is the release of the Timed Attack arrows. Like with all the other timed attacks, it's very simple. Press the arrows in the direction provided from left to right. If you do it within the time limit, you get max power. However, if the time runs out, you'll fail the timed attack. If at any point you press the wrong direction, you'll be given a penalty that will remove a certain amount of time, making it even more difficult to be successful. Now let's learn how to install this plugin. So like with every other timed attack in existence, you're going to need a timed attack core installed, and then the timed attack arrows goes underneath it, just like that. However, keep in mind that the timed attack arrows actually requires an image, so be sure to at least have one default image. For this example, it's going to be in the some random dude task folder, and it's going to be the arrows.png. I'll have this default image linked in the description so you can try it out for yourself. I'll also have any other alternative images also in the same folder. And to make it so a skill uses this timed attack, simply go to any skill, so for example the spark skill, and use the note tag timed attack arrows and timed attack. And of course, like with every other timed attack, within the two note tags, you can input special attributes to customize it based off each specific skill. All of the attributes are listed in the parameters, but of course you can also find them right here in this video. Let's go over them right now. The first four attributes are actually all sound effects. The normal sound effect is what plays when the player successfully hits one of the arrows correctly. By default, it's Wind 4. The miss sound effect is played when the player hits a wrong arrow. By default, it's Buzzer 1. The success sound effect is played when the player finishes the entire arrow sequence without running out of time. By default, it's Bell 3. And finally, the fail sound effect it plays when the time runs out. By default, it's Break. Next is the image attribute. This allows you to set a different image for the timed attack besides the default one, as shown by these blue arrows on screen. Simply set it to the name of the image file in image some random dude task folder. After that is a phrase attribute. Like with a mash timed attack, this allows you to customize a phrase that appears above the arrows per each timed attack. Simply input the phrase and use %1 to represent where the timer digits will appear. Command amount lets you customize the amount of arrows in the timed attack. By default, it's 4, but as you can see here, you can set to 6 or any other integer. Along with this is a randomized commands attribute. This is actually a pretty complex attribute. Here's how it works. If you set it to true, that means the arrows will be random. On the other hand, you can set it to a specific sequence using up, down, left, or right. Doing so will set that timed attack to always use that specific sequence. Be sure to make sure the sequence has the same amount of commands as a command count itself, otherwise bad things will happen. The frames attribute lets you set the time limit in terms of frames. There are 60 frames per second, so keep that in mind when setting this value. By default, it's 150. The penalty attribute allows you to set the amount of time lost when the player hits the wrong arrow. By default, it's 40. Success power and fail power allow you to actually create your own JavaScript formulas for the game temp task power when the player succeeds or fails. It's a little complex and you'll have to look at the code yourself to make it work properly, but here's an example. 1 minus this._countdown divided by this._max count. This will create a ratio based off the amount of remaining arrows. So if you want to make it so failing the timed attack does not give you an absolute 0, use this formula to base it off of the arrows remaining. As usual, above height will let you set how high above the actor the timed attack appears. Hit animation allows you to create your own animation for the arrows when they're pressed. This works by placing 5 numbers in a row separated by commas. These numbers are opacity speed, X scale speed, Y scale speed, X speed, and Y speed. By default, it's -20, 0.1, 0.1, -2, and -2. And as for the one that's being shown on screen right now, it's actually -10, 0.2, 0.2, 0, and -2. And finally comes a staple in all timed attacks, the flash rate and the flash time, which allow you to customize a flashing animation that occurs at the end. Now let's try some examples. Let's try setting the frames to 300, setting the command count to 7, and setting randomized commands to up, 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 down, 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 left. And now here are the results. And now let's also add in our own custom image, and let's set the phrase to just be %1 by itself. And now here we go again. And of course, that's all for this plugin. The download link to this plugin is in the description of this video. If you enjoyed this video or plan to use this plugin in your game, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. The last timed attack currently has 38 likes, so this video is going to need 45 likes before the next timed attack is released. Speaking of which, what is the next timed attack? It's the timed attack results, a plugin that allows you to customize a pop-up results that inform the player how well they did in their timed attack. You can give them an exact percent, or give them a general phrase based off of the game temp task power value. And that's all for this plugin. Until next time.